Right, hello guys and welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan. This story is now heating up. We've jumped into chapter 3, which he has called Downfall, and it's looking very, very, very scary for this subscriber. So stick the kettle on, strap yourself in, and let's get ready for today's Thailand story. So, we moved house in September of 2005. My first house was a Victorian terrace close to the city centre. When the children came along, I wanted to live in a suburban house with a garden for the children to play in. I bought a detached house in immaculate condition with a large garden. I now had a beautiful young wife, 2 children, my dream house and a job that I liked. I was content. Now, when we holidayed, it was usually in Thailand. We always stayed in Chiang Mai with occasional visits to Nong's sister's house in a village in Prey province. It wasn't much of a house, a rather ramshackle wooden structure with a corrugated iron roof. Nong's sister was called Noi. They were very close. Despite being only 2 years older than Nong, Noi had played the major part in raising Nong when their parents died. Noi's husband was called Tid. He never seemed to work at all. They had 2 boys, one a few years older than Luke and one the same age. Now, I never liked visiting the village because it was boring and I've never been one for roughing it. Sometimes Nong would take the children to Prey and I would choose to stay alone in Chiang Mai. I always remained faithful whilst they were away. Now, we were not super wealthy. At first, Nong got a job working in the kitchen of a care home. Later, when the first Thai restaurant opened in my city, she got a job as a waitress there. Whatever she earned, I never saw any of it. There was never any contribution from Nong to household bills or holidays, and a significant portion of Nong's earnings were doubtless sent to Thailand for her sister. Now, according to Nong, she was born in December 1977, even though her passport and Thai ID card gave her date of birth as May 1981. Her story is that her mother got the date wrong. Easily done for a mother to forget when her child was born, I suppose. Now, we've always celebrated her birthday in December, so I am inclined to believe her on this. Now, whilst our children were still young, Nong became friends with a Thai girl who lived nearby but worked in a gentleman's club in another city. This friend said she earned £500 per night, more than I earned in a week. The thought of all that money had Nong interested. I must admit, the thought of being much wealthier had me interested too. So Nong enrolled in a pole dancing class at the local university. I enjoyed watching the classes with all the young female students, and once she was sufficiently confident in her pole dancing abilities, I bought Nong some skimpy underwear and some expensive leather boots. Now, there was 3 lap dancing clubs in my hometown, and Nong had somehow become acquainted with the owner of one of them. She assured me that in his club it was strictly dancing and stripping only. Customers were not allowed to touch the girls. So, on her first night, she came back home in tears after only a couple of hours. Unlike what she had been told beforehand, she had been expected to have aerobics with the customers. Thankfully, she was not prepared to do this. And like all her money-making ideas, all it did was cost me money. Now, Emmy and me were still writing frequently to each other. She had a daughter of her own by this time. And one time, Emmy asked me what the name of my daughter was. Now, my daughter's name is May. and it's pronounced the same as that of the friend of Emmy who had stayed with me in England. Inevitably, Emmy would think I had named my daughter after her friend. I had a premonition that if I told Emmy my daughter's name, she would never write to me again. So it turned out, in hindsight, I wished I had only given Emmy my daughter's Thai nickname. My daughter was not named after Mai anyway, at least not consciously. I actually chose the name because May is my favourite month and also the name of a friend's daughter. Now we're going to move on to chapter 3, which he has named Downfall. In 2007, my team in the company I work for got a new boss. Me and him did not see eye to eye. Before he took over, I worked on new development tasks, but not long after he became the boss, I was taken off development and put on bug fixing. I hated fixing other people's errors. I was told I would be rotated back onto development, but that never happened. I never got a raise again either. So soon my peers were earning much more than me, a job I had liked, I grew to loathe. Then come the so-called Great Financial Crash of 2007 and 2008. It initially made very little material difference to me. However, whilst reading comments after a BBC financial post, I came across a comment that read, "If you want to understand the real reason behind the financial crash, research the term peak oil." I did. In fact, I spent the next 2 hours researching peak oil. Those 2 hours changed my worldview completely. I had believed in the upward trajectory of human civilization, that technological progress would continue forever and we would conquer the stars. After my research, I realized that our industrial civilization was totally dependent on fossil fuels and that as the fossil fuels ran out, our civilization would collapse. It was a real eye-opener. I thought that a hot country would be a better place to ride out the collapse than a cold country. A cold country requires energy to keep warm as well as for food. Whereas in a hot country, energy for keeping warm is not an issue. Now, my increasing hatred for my job and my belief that my family would have a better future in a hotter climate made me vulnerable. When Nong announced in late 2009 that she didn't want to stay in the UK anymore, but now wanted to live in Thailand, I was more amenable to the idea than I should have been, and Nong assured me that she would be able to support all of us in Thailand. In all of our time together, she had never given me any reason to doubt her, so I believed her. I had the naive idea that we could live the good life in rural Thailand, creating a food forest on our own land to supply us with all our needs. Pure fantasy. Now in 2009, I'd already been shown pictures of a new concrete house that had been built for Noi and her family. It was a big step up from the old wooden house. It wasn't clear where the money for this new house had come from. The plan became that Nong would take the children to Thailand and I would join them once I had sold the house. Long before she left, Nong had emptied my mortgage offset account of the £20,000 that sat in it. She said she would buy land for us to live on and farm with the money. She flew to Thailand with the children in early February 2010, going to stay with Noi in the new house. Even now, it saddens me to think how eager I was to say goodbye to my great life and everything that I had worked for. Fortune is of sluggish growth, but ruin is rapid. So it took about 3 months for me to sell my beautiful house, a period in which I became increasingly desperate to be reunited with my family. I'd never been apart from the children before, and it was difficult to think of them growing up without me. My anxiety was very great near to the house sale completion date. But the sale went through on time. I then had £150,000 in the bank. Now, the sensible thing would have been to leave the money in a UK branch and only transfer it to Thailand as and when required. I didn't have a Thai bank account, but I did have the option of going to London to open an account with Bangkok Bank. However, Nong told me that if I transferred all the money to her Thai bank account, she would transfer it all back to me once I arrived in Thailand and opened a bank account there. I trusted her absolutely, so I sent her all the money, barring about £6,000 that I left in my UK bank account, an account jointly held with Nong. So after the house sale completed and the money was transferred, I flew to Thailand only a week later. I was so confident that I'd never need to work in the UK again. I walked out of my job without even working the required 1 month's notice. My bridges were well and truly burned. So I arrived in Chiang Mai airport in mid-May. I was full of hope for a happy new life. I didn't have much time between flights in Bangkok, so I asked if I could go through customs in Chiang Mai. This was a mistake. Immigration officials were waiting for me in full force the minute I stepped off the plane in Chiang Mai. They went through all my belongings thoroughly before they let me pass. Now, Nong was supposed to be meeting me at the airport. At one point, the officials temporarily let me through without my things so I could fetch her to confirm my story, but I could not find her. So, when I had eventually cleared customs, I walked over to domestic arrivals. Guessing correctly, Nong would be waiting for me there. She was with an uncle who lived in Chiang Mai. He drove us to a restaurant and afterwards he took us to our hotel and said goodbye. The next day, we took a bus to Prey City. We stayed there long enough for me to open a Thai bank account, and Nong was keen to show me her bank book, according to which all the money that I had sent her was still untouched. It was almost 7 million baht. However, she would only transfer me half the money that I had sent her, not the full amount as she had promised. I was angry about this, but there was nothing that I could do. I suspect much of the money I had sent her was already gone, but her bank book had not been updated. Now Tid, the husband of Nong's sister, Noi, came to Prey City to take us back to the village where Nong and the children now lived. He was driving a brand new Toyota Hilux pickup truck. It only had a few hundred kilometers on the odometer. Nong assured me it had been bought more than a year ago, but hadn't been used much in the meanwhile. I was dubious, to say the least. Now, arriving at Nong's new house, I could see there was now an extension on the side, which hadn't been there when the house was built the year before. This was a private room with an ensuite bathroom for me and Nong. I was happy to see the children again, but my joy was slightly tempered by how much they had changed. They attended the village school, so their hair was cropped much shorter than it had been in the UK. They now looked dressed and spoke like Thai children. It was amazing how well they spoke Thai after only 3 months. They no longer felt quite as much like my children as they had before. Living in the house were me, Nong, our 2 children, Noi, Tid, their two children, and Tid's mother, lacking the fluency in Thai of everyone else in the household. I felt like an outsider. So I spent my time shopping for food in the local market, watching TV and surfing the internet. They had at least ordered some English language TV channels for me. 1 or 2 evenings a week, Tid would drive us from the village to Prey City in his new Toyota Hilux. In the city, we would go swimming and eat out. Other evenings, I was stuck in the house. I couldn't even walk around the village on an evening because Thai men would always call me over to drink Thai whiskey with them. This quickly became boring due to my limited Thai and their non-existent English. So I asked to see the land that Nong had purchased for us. So she took me to a few fields not far from the village that she said were ours. I asked when we could start building our house on the land, and she said we couldn't because she wanted to stay in the village. The closest I ever came to my good life dream was planting some sweet corn one day. The crop turned out a total failure due to heavy rain. Not to worry. Turned out Nong had talents I knew nothing about, and she was quite the businesswoman. She now had 2 stores in Platinum Mall in Bangkok selling clothes that she had designed herself. She also owned a minibus business in Bangkok. Her ventures were, according to her, making lots of money. Also, according to her, the shops had been open for 1 year already. Amazing how she'd been able to open them whilst living in the UK. She would disappear frequently for up to a week at a time to go to Bangkok to manage her empire, leaving me feeling even more isolated in the village without her. Now, I never saw evidence of either Noi or Tid working. When I asked Nong how they had money for a new house and a new car when they didn't work, Nong said normally Tid worked delivering ice, but he was having a break, a long break. She also said Noi was much richer than we were and had lots of gold. There was never any explanation of where this gold had come from. Nong bought a brand new motorbike, a Honda Dream. I soon had a Thai driving license and a Thai motorbike license. The driving license was easy because I already had a UK driving license and didn't have to take a test. My preparation for the motorbike test consisted of riding in and out of some strategically placed bricks on the drive of Noi's house, during which I fell off and grazed my leg. Riding the 10-kilometre to the test centre one morning was the first time I had ridden the motorbike on the road. I had been assured the test was easy and I couldn't fail, but when I saw the course I would have to ride around to pass the test, I was not so sure. To someone as inexperienced as me, it looked like an assault course for motorbikes, as featured in the 80s TV series Kickstart. The worst obstacle of all was a raised length of concrete about 12 inches wide and 5 meters long that had to be ridden along without coming off. I knew straight away I would struggle with this. Predictably, I came off after about 1 meter. I was told I could retake the test in the afternoon, so I spent the lunchtime trying to ride the motorbike in a straight line as much as possible along cracks in a road. And when I succeeded with the course a second time around, a huge cheer went up from the watching Thais. I was surprised that they had been genuinely rooting for me. So it wasn't long before I was bored with village life. Our children had school and lots of friends. Nong had her business interests, and I had little to do. The bright lights of Chiang Mai were soon beckoning. So me and Nong started going on frequent short breaks to Chiang Mai, usually just the 2 of us, sometimes with our children. Now Nong couldn't drive, but once I had my Thai driving license, I could. It was about a 3-hour drive through the mountains from the village to Chiang Mai. We were able to borrow the Hilux, and I soon got used to the journey. Once I went to Chiang Mai without Nong and visited one of the many karaoke places in Chiang Mai with pretty girls stood outside. I chose a girl and went to a private room where we chatted, ate, drank, and sang songs. It was all fairly innocent, so when Nong asked what I had done in Chiang Mai alone, I told her about it. She was not at all happy. So the next week, we went to Chiang Mai together, and I had to take her to the same karaoke joint, choose the same girl, and spend an hour sat in a private room with the 2 of them. It was not as much fun with my wife there. Now, when our children were on holiday from school, we went on a family holiday together. We all took a coach to Bangkok's northern bus station from Mu Chit. we were taken by one of Nong's minibuses to Ko Chang. It wasn't just me. Nong and the children, one of Nong's nephews, a gay boy called Duce, was also along for the ride. I resented his freeloading presence, especially as he got his own 2,000 baht per night hotel room in Ko Chang. We also stayed in Bangkok for a night or two and went to a water park on the roof of a high building. The open-topped water slides ran out over the edge of the building, and there was no way I was going on one of those. Now, whilst in Bangkok, we visited one of Nong's shops in Platinum Mall. A niece of Nong's called Rabbit was in charge of one of them, and Rabbit showed me the book in which the day's sales were recorded. One shirt. I couldn't understand where all the profits Nong claimed her business were making came from. So Nong explained that her profits came from large export orders rather than sales in the mall. Now, Tid's mother once complained that me and Nong were using the Hilux too frequently. This made Nong angry. I knew then for sure that it was her who had paid for the car. I wasn't pleased that she'd bought a brand new car using money from our house sale without asking me first. I had only ever owned one car in the UK, and that was second-hand when I bought it. So, with so much time on my hands, I started looking at Thai-friendly. Link in the description. I was quite open about it with everybody. Now, it might seem very stupid that having placed my future in someone else's hands, I would then do something sure to upset that person. But Farang are prone to do stupid things in Thailand. I think it's the heat that makes a Westerner unable to make rational decisions. I messaged one stunningly beautiful student from Rajabat University in Chiang Mai and was surprised when she actually replied. Her name was Somdoi. We started to message each other frequently in both English and Thai. I told Nong it was just to help me practice Thai language, and she was understandably skeptical. So one time, Somdoi asked if I knew of any business opportunities. I didn't, so I asked Nong, who said that she did. We were in Chiang Mai at the time, so we arranged to meet to discuss over a coffee. Somdoi brought a lady boyfriend with her. Nong did all the talking. It was a side of her I'd never known about before. She was quite the salesman. She had brought brochures showing the clothes she'd designed and wanted Somdoi to become a reseller. Nothing came of it, however, and afterwards Nong said Somdoi had been watching me the whole time, and I can't say that I noticed. So the next day, Nong flew to Bangkok on business. I immediately called Somdoi to ask if she wanted to meet. She did, and we met up in the shopping centre Airport Plaza. Somdoi brought her ladyboy chaperone with her again. I really enjoyed the date and was totally enamoured of this lovely girl. And partway through, Nong telephoned to ask what I was doing. I told her I was with Somdoi. Nong was angry and told me she was getting the next plane back to Chiang Mai. And she did just that. When she got back to me, she didn't say a lot. She just blamed me for messing up her business plans, and I never saw Somdoi again after that. We continued to message, but I never asked to meet again, and I don't think she would have done so anyway. I clearly could not go on living forever in Noi's house. I had swapped my lovely house in the UK for one room in somebody else's uncomfortable, badly designed house in a place that I didn't want to be. Nong said a nearby house was for sale for only 500,000 baht. I took one look at it and said, no. It looked even worse than Noi's house and would still leave me bored in the village. I told Nong I wanted to live in Chiang Mai, so we started searching for a house there. Now, it didn't take long for us to find my dream house. It was a 3-bedroom bungalow with an acre of land surrounded by a high wall. Within the wall was a large lake full of fish, meaning I would be at least part way towards my goal of self-sufficiency. The house was being sold by an ex-banker from Portsmouth and was well constructed to Western standards. A price of 4.8 million baht was agreed upon, about £90,000 at the time. Now Nong naturally took care of the purchase, which would be done from her bank account. The house price of 4.8 million baht was a large chunk of the almost 7 million we'd started with 5 months ago, but I hadn't touched the money in my account at all, and according to Nong's bank book, neither had she. We went to our bank in Prey City, where I transferred almost all of the money from my account to Nong's to facilitate the house purchase.
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid is stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
Right, guys, let us know what you think is going to happen down in the comments below. I think I'll be able to record the rest of this story in the next part and then it's done, hopefully, because it has been a long one. I'm kind of predicting this guy is going to lose absolutely everything in Thailand and it's not going to turn out well. But I could be wrong. But this is getting very, very, very dodgy. So tune in for hopefully what will be the final part next time. Take it easy, guys, and ciao for now. Bye-bye.